Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Got a little project here today I think you guys might enjoy watching. This is going to be a repair job for this casting right here. And it's probably going to be a little bit more of an in-depth job that's going to probably stretch out over a couple of videos and a little bit of time because we've got some multi-part things that has to happen here. But anyway, I'm going to zoom you in here, introduce you to the part, show you the problem, and talk about how we're going to go about doing this repair and why I'm choosing to go about it the way that I am. So what I've got here is a casting, and I wish I could give you guys a little bit more detail about what this came off of. You know, I was told at one time, and I just quite honestly don't remember. I do know that this is off of a piece of Delta machinery for some type of woodworking machine. And I've got two castings here. One of them is a casting just like it's supposed to be, and this is one that has been repaired, and probably functionally it works fine, but aesthetically it just does not look that great. And there's something special about this casting right here, according to the person I'm doing this for. And this casting, if you look up on the very front, and you're probably not going to be able to see it very easily, or maybe it's in the back. No, it's in the front. But right here, it actually had Delta cast into the casting. And that particular Delta in there, and most of it has been ground off, but you can still read it up under there. But this was on a very early machine. The later castings did not have the Delta cast down there. And the guy I'm doing this for, quite honestly, he's a collector of old Delta machinery. And he really wants to have this particular casting with that Delta name down here because it does date it to a certain period. So as you can see again, what happened is the little mounting ears had broken off at some point in time. Why that happened, I have no clue. He doesn't either. But when he received this casting, someone had taken a steel plate and looks like they have welded it on there with a welding rod. I'm assuming that may be nickel. I'm not sure if they even use the right kind of rod or not, but it's stuck, and like I said, it functions. But he's wanting basically to clean this up and get the proper ears put back on here. Now, how am I going to go about doing this? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the grinder out, and we're just going to grind off this old weld, get that steel plate off the bottom. And you know, there's quite a few ways that one could go about repairing this part. You know, we could just fabricate up some little steel ears that look right and braze them in there, weld them in there with a TIG torch. There's a lot of different ways we could join that on there. But again, because this is going on a restoration, and we're really trying to make it look as close to original as we can, I think what we're going to actually do here is after we get this plate off, I'm going to mill out a little kind of a half lap joint down here in the bottom, take about half this material out all the way across. We'll probably come in here and even mill this side flush, and then I'm going to create a pattern and actually have these ears cast. And why cast iron versus steel? Main reason is so that it looks right. Again, this is all about aesthetics more than function in this particular case. And I really want these ears to have that look like it was cast in a sand casting setup. Whereas, you know, if I were to make them out of steel, they just wouldn't have that right look. And is that overboard? Perhaps. But again, because this is a restoration and we're trying to bring it back as close to original as we can, that's going to be the approach that we take. So I think what we'll do is we'll get in here and start trying to grind this out. It's probably going to look pretty ugly at first, but hopefully we can get it to where it all blends back in and looks the way it's supposed to. Let's get to work. So we got a grinder here with just a regular grinding disc on it. We're going to try to take this out. There it goes. All right. And you can see right here where that weld had just kind of flowed in up underneath the bottom here, but it really didn't penetrate into the steel down below it. This just came right off right through here. Anyway, I don't know what kind of rod they used there. It obviously held it in place, but I'm not sure it was the best choice of repair for this particular job. I took my casting here over to the blasting cabinet off camera. We sandblasted this down and got it all cleaned up. And now what I'm doing is I'm getting this set up on the horizontal mill. And again, what I want to do is I want to mill out this edge over here. Instead of grinding it out, I'm going to mill it out. And again, we're going to just kind of mill a little step in here that the new piece will kind of fit up into and kind of have a half lap joint. I'm going to do that on both sides. So first thing to do is get this thing set up on the mill. Hang on a second. So again, the casting here, you see we've got this little cover on the front, and this is machined square to the base. So I've got a nice perpendicular surface that I can mount this on to get my base square. So that part is down. I've just got it up on some blocks down here like such, and that's got this side over here again running straight up and down. Next thing I had to do is get it lined up in the mill, and I've got my indicator in here and just tapping it back and forth, and just so you can kind of see, we'll sweep it across. The bottom of this casting is kind of rough. It bounces around a little bit, but it's all within 1/1000th inch or less, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I think we're ready. We're going to go ahead and put a cutter in here and go ahead and start cleaning up the bottom of this thing. Casting here, you see we've got this little cover on the front, and this is machined square to the base. So I've got a nice perpendicular surface that I can mount this on to get my base square. So that part is down. I've just got it up on some blocks down here like such, and that's got this side over here again running straight up and down. Next thing I had to do is get it lined up in the mill, and I've got my indicator in here and just tapping it back and forth, and just so you can kind of see, we'll sweep it across. The bottom of this casting is kind of rough. It bounces around a little bit, but it's all within 1/1000th inch or less, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I think we're ready. We're going to go ahead and put a cutter in here and go ahead and start cleaning up the bottom of this thing. I've mounted up an 1¼ inch end mill holder for an 1¼ inch shank, and what I've got here is a fresh regrind of an 1¼ inch shank end mill. This is probably, I guess, 1.5 inches. It's been reground, so it's probably a little bit smaller than that. One of my viewers was kind enough to sharpen some of these bigger mills for me a while back, and this will be the first time I've got a chance to use one. So we'll go ahead and tighten that one up right there on that ground spot on the shank. This one's a little bigger set screw for some reason, but let's go ahead and tighten up both of them. All right, that should be good and tight. And move that cover off of there. So we've got this set up now. I think we're about ready to go. We've got our cutter set up on 412 RPMs here. It's a 2-flute end mill cutter, so it'll be making basically a little less than a, what is that, 412 times 2 will be 924, or 824, excuse me, cuts per minute on there. So I think what I'm going to do now is we're just going to ease this into the table till we start to get a cut. Right there. And I'm going to set my feed, my automatic feed, to start traveling up. I'm cutting it 1 inch per minute on my feed right now. It seems like it's cutting pretty good. I'm going to take it up. That's 1 3/8 feed per minute. And we'll just let it go all the way down, and it's cutting through some pretty nasty weld right now. So hopefully it won't give us any trouble as we go down through here. Well, guys, I made a little edit here to my setup. I wasn't able to get the table up high enough to really get the clearance down here on the bottom that I wanted. I needed to raise everything up. And what I ended up using was I had an angle plate, this piece back here, you can see the back sticking up, that it's about 1 inch thick. So that basically put up underneath the bottom of this. Still have the same risers in here. And I just reset the part up. It just basically rised up a little bit off the table. Everything else had to get raised up. Also added another bracket back here, a clamp holding it down. Just felt better with some extra support holding it in place. But besides that, that's about it. But we're basically all set back up. I put the indicator back on here, got it running true again. And I dialed the table in. We're going to make about 100 thousandths cut going down through there, and we should be ready to go. So let's do it. Just going to raise it up by hand until it starts cutting. About right there. And we'll let the machine feed up. All right, we got it going at 851 RPMs now, and let's see what that looks like going up. I've got the edge over here pretty much like I want, and what I've done now is I've moved it in about 7/16 of an inch. We're going to cut a little step in here. I want to go a total of a quarter inch, 250 thousandths. Right now I got it set up on half of that, 1/8 of an inch. We're going to go down, basically just mill a slot, and then we'll come back and make a second pass. I did put a little cool mist on this just to cut down on some heat. And we should be ready to go. So let's go ahead and get up here. We're cutting. Let it go down through the part. I pulled this off the machine now, and you can see the end results of the machining here to create us a place to put these ears. So the machining is done now. Next step here, we'll come in and make a pattern to basically make these little ears and send that off to get cast, and then we'll be coming back and brazing this all back together and machining the bottom down flush and flat again. So well on our way. The machining part's out of the way. Now a little pattern making, and that'll probably be in another video coming down the road. So there you go. That'll be a wrap on another video here. Got the machining part done, and we'll be back to finish this out a little bit later. Yet another case where my horizontal milling machine was really, in my opinion, the right machine to do the job. You could have done this on a vertical, but it would have been a lot more difficult because of being able to mount this part where everything's going on straight up and down. Mounting it vertical like this and coming in and milling it. Could be done with an angle plate coming in here and buttoning this up and bolting it to an angle plate. But the setup that we have is a lot more rigid on the horizontal mill. And it's just nice, guys, to have the ability to put that cutter in both vertical or horizontal mode. And in this case, horizontal mode was the way to get the job done. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys later.